This is a video on the old historic bars and taverns of Lower Manhattan, and we're going to start here at Minetta Tavern, which is closed right now during the pandemic, but it's at the corner of McDougal and Minetta Place, Minetta Lane, right here in the heart of the village, right across the street from the Cafe Wa, whose original owner is the uncle of David Lee Roth. Anyway, there's tons of nice old bars and restaurants. Some of them smell like they've been around forever. Here's the Off the Wagon Bar and Grill. And a lot of these places do have outdoor dining, but I guess if you're really a classic place, you're not going to go for that. But the Minetta Tavern is one to have on your list of my top 10 in Lower Manhattan. This is the corner of Minetta and Minetta Lane and Minetta Street. We're gonna walk down Minetta Street because it's a unique curving street. Really, it's 1 block long, but it feels longer because it curves in the middle. And it's always pretty quiet like this. And from time to time there's different restaurants that are along this street, or there have been in the past. And then it comes out on 6th Avenue down here to the west. But there's a couple of streets like this in the village that have their own unique character. And then you wind up back on the main thoroughfare. Finelli's Cafe here at Prince and Mercer is one of the old-time New York places that you should check out, and they have a couple of tables outdoors here. They have a great bar when that'll be open in the future, and highly recommend this place. A lot of people meet here when they say they're going to meet someone, and then they meet right here in the middle of Soho at Finelli's. Here's that legendary Broome Street bar. It says Bob and Ken's, and I forget which one I met. I met one of the brothers. There are two brothers, Bob and Ken, and when I met the one brother, he might have been around 90 years old, and his brother had passed away, but it looks like it's been there forever. And they've got an outdoor eating area, so that's great. Anyway, one thing I would strongly recommend here at the corner of West Broadway and Broome Street, which Broome Street's a beautiful street, by the way, as you can see looking east, is order the Pig Witch at the Broome Street Bar. And their menu is all up on a chalkboard when the indoor portion is open. I'm not quite sure how they're doing it now, but definitely a place to check out. Another place, it's like Finelli's, it's one of those old New York places that you should go to. I've taken guests from out of town and they really thought it was a great place. So this is one of the prime stops on our historic bars tour. McSorley's Ale House on East 3rd Street in the East Village. Classic place, hasn't changed, still here. Across the street from this church, I once saw a wedding couple come out of the church after the service, and the bride in her white gown came out and walked straight into McSorley's. So I thought that was a classic wedding move. So, great place. I think they only have one bathroom. It's been unisex forever. Well, good luck with all that. Okay, now we're walking down Hudson Street towards another classic, historic Manhattan tavern, the White Horse Tavern at West 11th. And it's the morning, so there's nobody here, but this just shows you, I'm sure it's open for outdoor dining later on, but it's a great old place, and when it's open on the inside, it's really a cool place. And West 11th is a really cool street. There used to be another famous place down the street here. I'm going to see what's there now. It's no longer there, sad to say, but I'll show you where it was. It was right here, the Spotted Pig. And there was the bar, and it was always packed, and it's gone. The celebrities would go there. I don't know if you heard that guy, but I was just repeating what he was saying. But anyway, that was a cool place to meet, and I had some very good experiences there. So that's what happens in New York, though. A lot of places don't last forever. Look at this vine-covered building here on the northeast corner of Greenwich and 11th. Anyway, that was the Spotted Pig. It was in a movie. Maybe it'll come to me and I'll put that on the screen, what movie it was in. So, the West Village future video just on this neighborhood. This is one place that's a classic bar, tavern in New York, in Tribeca. It's Puffy's Tavern on Hudson Street at Harrison Street. And it's the morning, but I'm here, so I'll just take a picture of it. It's a pretty little building that's right here in the corner. I never actually noticed the whole building. But they've got a jukebox and an old bar, and just look at the neighborhood in Tribeca. It's just a very chill yet expensive neighborhood. This is the New York Mercantile Exchange building across the street. It's beautiful, Victorian. And looking down this street, Harrison, that's down towards, it goes to the Hudson. And then looking up Hudson Street, more beautiful buildings. So it's always sort of a very quiet, relaxed area of lower Manhattan. And Puffy's is a place to come to have a drink or two and just relax. And it's still here, so that's a lot to be said for that. There was another bar, the Raccoon Lodge, that was its ideological brother, but it's no more, and the building's no more. It's just being something else built there. So Puffy's is still here. Here's another look at Puffy's from close up with outdoor dining. I'm gonna add the name of this place to the list, Mudville. Never been here. It's on Chambers Street, down the street from City Hall, just inside West Broadway, but I just love the name. Looks like a cool place. course, you have to include Fraunces Tavern in the list of historic bars in Manhattan. So here we are at the corner of Broad and Pearl and Bridge Streets. So it's a nice historic block here in Lower Manhattan. So I had to bone up a little bit on my American history. I know this place is famous for where George Washington, at the end of the Revolutionary War, he said goodbye to all of his officers, which was in 1783, but he didn't become president of the US until 1789. So I'd have to really study up on my American history to figure out what happened between 1783 and 1789 when he first became president. I know they had to write the Constitution, but what else was going on then? So in 1783, he was 51 years old. We think of him as being old and revered and esteemed and everything, but he was still a fairly young man, and he lived until 1799. So he was also one of the richest American presidents, which I found interesting, by virtue of his wife. So he didn't make a lot of money being the general of the US forces during the Revolutionary War, but he married well. So this is Fraunces Tavern. Can't go in. I doubt that they have outdoor dining or anything until the pandemic is over. But it's holding down the fort of history here in modern Lower Manhattan. Okay, from the U.S. Customs House at Bowling Green, we're going to ride down the oldest and one of the shortest streets in Manhattan, Stone Street. Some say this is the oldest street. And there's a couple of Irish pubs along this street, and the next street we'll go on nearby. I'm going to add these to the list. It might not be the oldest in New York, but they're in the oldest area, so you can't go wrong with an Irish pub like Murphy's Tavern here on Stone, right next to the DoubleTree Hotel. And then we're going a little north. There's the Goldman Sachs building, 80 Broad, built in the 80s. And then this is an interesting area of Lower Manhattan. This is South William Street. And I was going up Broad and this caught my eye. So I wanted to come down here and check this out. Most New Yorkers don't come here unless they work here. So, but this place, it's like a classic old place, the Dubliner. That would be really interesting to go to, I think. And then just these old European Dutch style buildings here in Lower Manhattan. Fantastic on South William Street. So this also gives you a little taste of Lower Manhattan. Here's a famous restaurant, Delmonico's, where Wall Streeters have gone for a long time. I don't know if they're doing any kind of outdoor dining during the pandemic, but it's definitely a place to keep in mind. Okay, also in the shadow of the World Trade Center is this place, famous place from the 80s, the Odeon. And they do seem to have outdoor dining. It's not a classic old place, but it's representative of an era when this was the place to be, and it's still a cool place. So definitely include this. The door stays open while we walk by. There it is. Classic place. In the final place I'll put on this list is an open-ended one. It's right now it's called American Whiskey, but I'd say whatever is at this address at 211 West Broadway, it is probably a good bet because it's a really nice building, cast iron type construction, built in 1915, I believe, in the heart of Tribeca. There used to be an establishment there called 211, same as the address. So just remember the address, 211 West Broadway. It's been so many different things over the years, and that's what I recommend, is just to come to this area. It's at the corner of West Broadway and Franklin Street, and it's a great place to check out the architecture, both old and new, and it's right by the Franklin Street stop on the number 1 train, and it's right up the street from the Odeon and New York Law School, and it's just a neat area. So I'm putting this on at the end of the list. Okay, that's it for all the historic taverns and bars, most with restaurants in Lower Manhattan. Put those on your list. See you in the next one.